There's a really significant and curious form of loneliness that we encounter in the modern world because we are surrounded by people all the time, whether it is, in person or in public, or more commonly on social media, the constant buzz of that ambient noise of notifications, of likes, of hearts, and of everything. But rarely do we feel nourished by that in any way. We scroll endlessly, but we never seem to find what we're actually looking for. And once upon a time, we turned to books to fulfill that particular need. We turned to books not just for information, but for that slow, deliberate unfolding of our inner lives. But somewhere along the way, we lost that reading habit. I'm Dr. Alan Johnson, and on this channel, I talk about the mind, well-being, productivity, and change for thinkers, makers, and everyone in between. And in this video, I want to walk you through how you can reclaim the reading habit for yourself, not with hacks or, any sort of self-improvement tips and tricks, but with reconnecting to your sense of purpose, why you want to develop your reading habit in the first place. And I'll give you practical steps, but these aren't about finding shortcuts, because there aren't any shortcuts that we can find here. There are ways of making your reading part of your life again, and that takes time and that takes effort, but that's what I want to talk about today. This is especially important if you are feeling tired, if you're feeling scattered, or if you're feeling just disconnected from life in some sort of way. And, if those things are true for you, I would love for you to also explore my online course in Integrative Meditation. I'll pop the link below because it really does offer a system for steadying yourself and for returning that sense of attention and reclaiming a sense of belonging. I'll pop the link below, which has more information. But for now, let's get into building this reading habit, because there are really three core reasons why we, and when I say we, I don't mean just me and you, but I mean we as a society, the reason that our reading habit has been lost. So number one, our attention has been hijacked. There are apps and productivity tools and websites and other forms of technology that have been specifically designed to hijack our attention. Some of those are good. YouTube is great. We can learn a lot from YouTube, but we also need to be cautious of when our attention has been hijacked. Second thing, the second cause behind this is we have become accustomed to expecting too much too soon. We want the payoff in 3 seconds, not the dozens of hours it might take us to read the book. And the third of these three core problems and why we've lost the reading habit is that we don't have a system. We're not taught how to develop a reading habit any longer. We rely on our sense of mood. If we feel drawn to read in a particular moment, our ancestors, our grandparents, great-grandparents, and beyond, they had a sense of how and why to read that we have lost. So how then do we overcome these three challenges? Well, let's start here. Reading doesn't have to be a big deal. Forget reading for 45 minutes. Forget finishing a chapter. Instead, open the book, read one paragraph, close the book again. That's it. That's the whole practice. What you're doing is rewiring your approach to thresholds. You're not aiming for quantity. You're reestablishing trust in yourself to be able to show up to the page. We have, in our busy, frenetic modern lives, begun to lose trust in our sense of self. We have begun to lose trust in our abilities to self-soothe. We have begun to lose trust in our ability to follow through something that we believe we need. So start with less and do it consistently. Right after this video is over, pick up the book, read one paragraph, and that is already going to begin to rewire a new reading habit for you. A second thing that we can try is building a reading zone. And this sounds like a big task. I don't mean that whatsoever. You don't need a library. You don't even need to go to the library. It might just be that one candle or that one blanket or that particular time of day, because environment matters more than you think. If you are reading in the same place that you answer your emails and you scroll on your phone and you half watch reels on Instagram, it's going to be hard. So here's the thing: create a special separate reading zone just for your reading practice, whether it's one chair or one cushion or one blanket or a post-it note with the word read on it. Doesn't matter. All you need to do is make it special, make it different to the space where you're just mindlessly scrolling on your phone, or where you're doing work, or where you're doing anything else that you don't find the same type of nourishment from. So I've spoken about how to pick up the book and where to pick up the book, but what book do you actually pick up? Don't read what you think that you should read. If you've been told that Don Quixote or Les Miserables or War and Peace are some of the greatest novels ever written, they are, by the way, it doesn't necessarily mean that those are the right books for you right now. Don't read what you think that you should read. Don't just read a difficult classic because someone told you that it's going to make you smarter. Instead, begin to trust what speaks to you in the moment. If you are burned out in your life, pick up something that is really spacious and slow. And if you're looking for meaning, find a novel or a work of nonfiction that asks those big questions without trying to solve them. So allow yourself to trust your own instincts here. And yes, this might mean that it's the big escapist bestseller. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I think that so much of our society has taught us that reading is only worthwhile and only valuable if we read things that are worthy. What has that done? Well, that has turned us away from reading altogether. And this isn't me saying that we shouldn't challenge ourselves with the works of great literature, and I have other videos on how we can do that. What I'm saying instead is that when we are building a reading habit, we should listen to the voice of our own soul that is guiding us in the direction of what we need to read in that moment. Maybe it's a thriller, maybe it's a Dan Brown novel, maybe it's a romance novel or Bridgerton, whatever. It is about beginning to change our relationship to reading. And the last little thing I'm going to suggest is set a 5-minute timer, and that's it. This isn't to push you. It is to contain the practice. You're saying to yourself that I'll read for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it's fine, and then I'll stop. By doing that, you are reducing that emotional resistance, because more often than not, you'll keep going. If you say, I'm going to read for just 10 minutes, you probably are going to keep going. And even if you don't, you have still practiced showing up to your reading practice. And that's what matters more than anything else. Reading is a threshold practice, and thresholds are about frequency, not intensity. So here's something that I started doing that really changed my relationship to books. At the end of every session, when I'd read and I put it down and I was going to bed or going to do something else, I just wrote down one sentence, an idea, a thought, a reflection that came to me from that particular reading. And that form of contemplative inquiry takes your reading habit and turns it into a deeper practice over time. These things are all really simple, short. Nothing I've suggested here is going to take more than 5 or 10 minutes, because what this video has been about is about how we rewire our relationship to reading. We have accumulated a whole bunch of false and unhelpful beliefs about what it means to be a reader from the world around us. And there are some things that we can do to begin chipping away at that. If you want to track your reading on Goodreads or another app or something like that, then by all means, go ahead. But don't turn this into a race. Instead, instead of tracking the metrics here, it's about tracking the memories and the relationship that we develop to our books. This is a subtle, quiet form of resistance to the increasingly orderly and organized and controlled and metricized world around us. And this is about anchoring our reading experience in a way so that it doesn't just slip through the cracks. Rebuilding a reading habit is fundamentally transformative. It is going to change the way in which you perceive the world, but it requires you to begin to notice how you are approaching the habit. What are your beliefs about being a reader and about reading books? Most of us try to read like we try to achieve things at work. We do it sort of quickly, and we want to be perfect and impressive. But reading is all about the return, showing up to that book day after day until we finish it. It is a practice, not a performance. And like all practices, whether that's yoga or Tai Chi or running or strength training, it rewards consistency over intensity. So start small, create a space, choose the book that is speaking to you now. Begin by reading one paragraph or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and let that be enough. And if you want to go deeper into your attention, into how your nervous system works, and how to cultivate our own spiritual awareness, to improve and enhance our lives, remember, check out the link below to my online course in integrative meditation. It can really offer you a whole bunch of ways to support not only your reading practice, but your life in general. And thanks for being here. Let me know in the comments what you're reading now, what your reading practice is looking like, and what you want your reading practice to grow into over the 3 months ahead. Walk gently, and I will see you next time.